This is Ben Shalom and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Okay, firstly, Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I hope 2024 turns out to be a very productive and fruitful one. So Happy New Year to you all. Anyway, the WBA have released their new rankings to kick off 2024. And they've made a lot of changes and it's garbage. It's really, really bad. So we're going to go in on them in a minute over some key points, which of course I'll point out. So I will be doing the rankings, the top 15 for the WBA, compare it to last month, see what fights recently happened, what fights are coming up. Let's see why they've made some of these changes. Anyway, let's go through the new top 15, starting off with Alexander Usyk is the WBA World Heavyweight Champion. Manuel Charr is the WBA regular World Heavyweight Champion. Number 1, Martin Bakole. Number 2, Anthony Joshua. Number 3, Joseph Parker. Number 4, Daniel Dubois. Number 5, Frank Sanchez. Number 6, Lenier Perel. Number 7, Cassius Chaney. Number 8, Ajit Kabayel. Number 9, Fabio Wardley. Number 10, Filip Hrgovic. Number 11, Jarrell Miller. Number 12, Jared Anderson. Number 13, Jonathan Guidry. Number 14, Justice Huni. And number 15, Ivan Dajko. So there you have it. There is the new top 15. I always feel like I sound like the old 1980s teletext kind of Bournemouth 2, Liverpool 3. That kind of, anyway. So dropped out this month, Deontay Wilder, who was number 1, Arslanbek Makhmudov, who was number 4, and Junior Farr, who was number 10, all last month. So those 3 gentlemen have been dropped out. Why? Because they've all lost. Now, that's fine that they all lose, and if they all get dropped, okay, fair dues. But when we really look at, say, number 11, Big Baby Jarrell Miller, well, he's been dropped down 5 positions, who also lost on the same card as Wilder, Makhmudov and Farr. So why does Miller get to keep his top 15 position? Okay, he's been dropped down by 5, but which is bizarre. He's never been that high anyway. But why does he keep his position, but Wilder, Makhmudov and Farr all lose theirs? Don't get me wrong, I think Junior Farr shouldn't have been there to start with. Okay, anyway, I'll leave that for you to discuss in the comment section. Personally, I don't agree with it. I think Miller should be dropped also. Okay, so we're going to start off with some fresh inserts. Number 12, Big Baby Jared Anderson. Is he a top 15 fighter? Arguably. Hopefully his next fight, whomever that may be against, will prove that. Hopefully he's against somebody in the top 15. There has been talk about a Daniel Dubois fight, so that'd be very interesting. So we'll have to wait and see. Number 8, Ajit Kabayel. Ajit Kabayel, of course, stopped Arslanbek Makhmudov in round number 4 on the Joshua, Wallin, Wilder, Parker undercard in Saudi Arabia. So, good win for him. So now he's got 2 good wins on his resume. Derek Chisora, some odd years ago. And of course now Arslanbek Makhmudov. Makhmudov, he did break a bone in his arm and his hand in the second round. But regardless, he won. So full credit to him. Top 15 position deserving? I would certainly say so. And of course, number 3, Joseph Parker, who was not in the top 15 either last time out and hasn't been for a while, but now he jumps straight in at number 3. Good victory over Deontay Wilder on, again, the Saudi card. So well done to Joseph Parker. So I suppose outside of those inserts and the new changes, obviously Wilder has now been dropped totally from the top 15, and the new number 1 from number 2 up to number 1 is Martin Bakole. So he's now the number 1. Now, is he the number 1 heavyweight in the world? No, of course he's not. Could he be? Potentially, who knows? But we haven't seen it yet. When his best wins are Carlos Takam, a Sergey Kuzmin, or a Tony Yoka. Tony Yoka, of course, has lost his last 2 fights since then as well. But what's he done that's more than what Joshua's done? What's he done that's more than what Parker's done? What's he done that's more than what Daniel Dubois has done? Or arguably Filip Hrgovic. So I don't agree that he's number 1, but boxing politics and all that kind of good stuff, he's there for a reason. So we'll have to wait and see. I would fully expect the WBA to order Bakole versus Joshua. Not yet, but at some point if these rankings continue. Because obviously the WBA is not going to have a mandatory for quite some time because they have to go through the IBF next. Then the WBO before the WBA comes back around. So it's going to be quite some time before that they order it. But you never know. You never know. I'm sure somebody somewhere may petition it. Now, Daniel Dubois has moved up 4 positions. Sorry, he's moved up 3 positions to number 4. Obviously, he stopped and defeated Big Baby Gerald Miller. I said Miller seemed to keep his position for some reason, or top 15 position at least. But Daniel Dubois moves up by 3 positions. Is that right? Arguably, why not? I mean, he should certainly move up some positions, but I fully expect Frank Warren Queensberry to petition the WBA to have Daniel Dubois fight the WBA regular world heavyweight champion, Manuel Charr. And I said this about 6-7 weeks ago when Manuel Charr was reinstated as a WBA regular world heavyweight champion, which is bizarre. He should never have been so. Okay, but that's the fight I fully expect. Charr versus Dubois next. It's an easy win for Dubois. In fact, if I'm a fighter in this top 15, I'm going after him. I don't know why Martin Piccoli isn't. Or maybe they are. Obviously, Charr's now got some kind of contract, I believe, with Queensberry and Frank Warren, so maybe that's one of the reasons. Frank Sanchez moves up 3 positions to number 5 after defeating Junior Farr. A guy who got knocked out by Lucas Brown. That's the guy who Frank Sanchez just defeated. Frank Sanchez, good win over F.A. Jagban. I've said this before a couple of years ago. But his level of opposition has been going backwards ever since. When is he going to fight somebody in his top 15? When is he going to fight a Parker or a Piccoli or a Herkovich or someone like that? When is Sanchez going to fight one of these guys? Let's see if he's good enough for this kind of position. Maybe he is, but right now he hasn't proved it. It's my problem with the WBA. And of course their bias and potential corruption with yet again having Don King fighters ranked who shouldn't be ranked in the top 15. For example, number 7, Cassius Chaney. Now he defeated a Don King fighter probably 2 months ago now, is it? 6-7 weeks ago, however, in Trevor Bryan. Now, Cassius Chaney, okay, he's a decent fighter, but is he number 7 in the world? And what's he done since last month to be boosted 4 positions? Has he fought? Not that I've seen. If he has, okay, cool. I'll apologise. But I haven't seen it. So why has he been boosted by 4 positions? For what reason? Is it because he's a Don King fighter now? You betcha. That's probably the reason. Number 13, Jonathan Guidry, is a Don King fighter. This WBA Don King bias is ridiculous. I mean, what's Jonathan Guidry done to be a top 15 fighter? He lost to Trevor Bryan, man. If you lose to Trevor Bryan, you shouldn't be in the top 50 of any rankings, let alone the top 15. Granted, he looks like a fella from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, but still, he hasn't beaten anybody. Now, I'm pretty sure they'll have Jonathan Guidry versus Cassius Chaney. Don King will have that one, and he'll bill it something along the lines of saving the world or something like that. You know what Don King's like. But Filip Herkovich, he's moved up 2 positions after defeating Mark Demori. I don't know why Filip Herkovich even took that fight. It can only be for money. It's the only reason why he took it, because that was a ridiculous throwaway fight. It was. Now, I fully expect Herkovich versus Joshua next for the IBF interim title, for the winner of that to be elevated to the full champion once Fury and Usyk get their first fight out of the way. But in some ways, you could say because Herkovich is the mandatory, and that's 100% the route he's going down, it's almost a waste of a ranking to be ranked in WBA or any other sanctioning body outside of the IBF. Joshua, I can understand it because obviously Joshua isn't 100% going down the IBF route, but Herkovich is, because he's the mandatory, right? Lenier Pero seems to hold on to this position. He does. Now he's been dropped 1 position. He was number 5 last month, now he's number 6. But he's only had like a dozen fights, if that. Why is he ranked so high? Who's he beaten? He hasn't beaten anybody. You see, this is my problem with the WBA. When you don't see fighters on here who have done more than, say, 3/4 of these fighters, like a Joe Joyce or Andy Ruiz Jr. Where are they in these rankings? Why is Lenier Pero ranked in there? Why is Cassius Chaney ranked in there? Why is Jared Anderson, arguably, who's he beaten outside Charles Martin, where he struggled with? Why is Jarrell Miller ranked in there? Why is Jonathan Guidry ranked in there? Ivan Daichko, potentially. Even maybe a Justice Honey from one perspective, even though it was a very good win over Andrew Tabiti, for sure. But there's a lot of fighters here who should not be ranked in the top 15. But they are. It's almost like you can buy your positions. I know that's not breaking news, okay? That's been going on since boxing started. But still, awful, awful rankings. I don't want to kick off the new year like this, but it's shite. Absolute garbage. And WBA, they just don't care, do they? Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.